did you? He on talking about, oh, let's get it started. He on talking about, let's get ready to rumble. He on talking about, what's good with it, man? Boxing Talk, another one, man. I say, bro, you coming back with Boxing Talk? Yeah, man. This is for all my partners that love to hear me talk that boxing. I told y'all I'll be chopping it up every boxing match with my good friend Nate the Great and shit. You know what I'm talking about? My little young nigga I used to work with, man, Nate the Great. We'll go back. Nate the Great, one of them niggas that like Lomo. You know what I'm talking about? I be tearing his ass up all the time. He be tearing me up about nephew. You know what I'm talking about? He stay telling me nephew ain't got no chin. Nephew ain't that good. But he will give me my props though. He gave me my props when the cause he was one of them people that was laughing at nephew when the first Tank thing came out. He was the one that told me the whole tape came out. He was like, man, you seen the whole tape? He said, man, nephew was he said nephew was whooping that nigga ass, made that nigga turn around. He said nephew was whooping his ass. They only showed a little glimpse of the video. But shout out to my nigga Nate. You know what I'm talking about? He love the missile art sports. We be he don't see how I'll be getting that shit the way I'll be getting it. I'll be telling him like, man, this dude finna get knocked out. And he be like, hell no, the next 2 minutes this dude done got knocked out. He be like, bro, how you know that shit? You know what I'm talking about? Just like I told him when on the UFC, you know, I like some people in the UFC, you know what I'm talking about? But it was that big fight when my nigga Izzy was finna fight the dude who always beat him. It was their second fight. And he was like, man, Izzy finna get destroyed. I was like, nah, I seen that look in Izzy eye. He was gonna have to kill Izzy on that night. I seen that look in his eye. You know what I'm talking about? He was getting dogged too. And came out with that punch. That's what I'm saying. If you didn't watch boxing, you'll realize, like, just like that Diego Corrales fight when he was fighting Castillo. Man, it looked like it was trying to be over for him. And he ran into the punch. I keep telling y'all, my partner Daddy knocked out Lennox Lewis. You know what I'm talking about? But I just love boxing. Boxing, football always my favorite sport. But Boxing Talk, man, we finna jump into it. Shout out my nigga Nate the Great. But I was finna say, hold on, y'all. Let me go put some warmth on this coffee. How's you doing, man? Boxing Talk. You know what I'm talking about with the breath, man. I'm gonna say breast and whiskers on TV even when you talking boxing. Yeah, man, so where we at? I was just shouting out my partner Nate the Great. You know what I'm talking about? One of them average sports fans. You know what I'm talking about? We used to be up there at the airport, not paying attention to none of that shit going on, watching the fights. You know what I'm talking about? They taking hella load, the load course and shit. The fights will come on, that nigga Nate will say, hey, y'all, look, I'm not gonna be no good tonight, so if you can't find me, he on talking about I'm watching the fight, he on talking about stop. No. Gone. Get your ass out of here, man. She wanted to hear that boxing talk too, you know what I'm talking about? But this is what I had to get into it, man, because after I made my boxing talk, somebody was asking me about that. See, once again, man, let me divulge this to you real quick. Listen, bruh, I don't need to watch nobody else. I have 903. That's one of my favorite boxing shows. That's my favorite boxing show, actually. It's 903 hella funny, man. I'm telling you, that nigga had me when he said it ain't enough baby powder in the world. He was all, he said it ain't enough baby powder in the world to backhand you niggas. That nigga hella funny, blood. That nigga might need to he could be a stand-up comedian, man. That nigga is funny. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't bullshitting with you, but he got that shit. But I like I said, I like Goodfellas, like even the motherfuckers that be what y'all call them, raccooning, bootlicking and shit, and doing all that monkey shit. Even some of them, they know boxing. It's just how they I think a lot of these motherfuckers know boxing, bro. They just they narrate that shit based on their audience, they fans. So whatever popular, you know what I'm talking about, they'll just take whatever stands, you know what I'm talking about, that's gonna get them the views. But I think everybody know boxing. I don't think they be believing half that shit that they be putting out there, you know what I'm talking about? But so I give everybody, you know what I'm talking about, it ain't like a nigga just don't know nothing he talking about. You get what I'm saying? So shout out to all the channels I guess you nigga trying to get off the ground, you know what I'm talking about? Niggas be having biased opinions like a motherfucker, you feel me? But that's cool. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man, I'm not the nigga who watch Showbiz, Ego, this nigga right here, and just take a collage of what them niggas think and then I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford is gonna lose because I heard somebody else talking about, man. No, that ain't why I said that, bro. Listen, if you heard anything I said, I'm scared for Terrence Crawford. I don't want Terrence Crawford to lose. You know what I'm talking about? With my honest, I hope Terrence Crawford could hurt this dude because what I see playing out, and now Terrence Crawford could hurt this dude. You gonna see dude get dog walk. You know what I'm talking about? Because just like I said, I know I'm not talking about, listen, bro. Fuck all that big shit. Fuck all the muscles and all that shit. That ain't even why I'm worried, bro. You get what I'm saying? Because you don't even have to have that to crack, nigga. Did you see Diego Corrales, nigga? That nigga with no big muscular nigga. That nigga was cracking. Nigga, knock your motherfucking ass out, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? There's a few motherfuckers, nigga. I was finna say Hearns. Hearns had a pretty good build on him, though. But you get what I'm saying, man. And you know what, man? You Terrence Crawford, I'm glad this boxing talk. Man, you niggas get on my nerves, bro. You Terrence Crawford fans, you Earl Spence fans, you Tank Davis fans, like you Devin Haney fans, and I'm a Devin Haney fan. But like y'all do imaginary shit, bro. Y'all up here playing like we talking about G.I. Joes and shit, Transformers and GoBots and shit. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all be up here playing. But I actually heard a nigga that tried to say like Terrence Crawford was the one who made it. The nigga that be on this side, like Terrence Crawford made the switch hitting stands or something. Bro, come on, folks. Come on, folks. But then he tried to create he was like the one who made it famous for this. Come on, bro. From the first time they seen Terrence Crawford, you know what I'm talking about, do that shit. The you know you heard what they said. You heard what Roy Jones said. He said, man, I ain't seen nobody do that fluently since Hagler. You know what I'm talking about? That shit been around, bruh. Ain't nothing new under the sun. He does that shit good. But I'm not saying I think he gonna lose because the Russian dude know how to switch it. It ain't none of that shit right there, folks. I'm going off my own knowledge. Me watching Terrence Crawford fight. I keep telling you, bro, I'm the one. I'm not the one. See, I don't like doing that. Like, nigga, me. I was right and all that shit. That don't be my point. But I'm just saying all that to say from when that nigga was a little nigga, bruh, I was telling niggas, man, that nigga right there can fight, bruh. I like how that nigga get down. The same with Spence. You know what I'm talking about? I like the Spence because he was one of the first people I seen in a long time that just dedicate to that body. Do that good body work, you know what I'm talking about? And just break you down. Yo, hold on. What the fuck is you doing, Penny? What are you doing? Sit down. Sit your ass on. Motherfucker always grab my shit. I got a badass dog, yo. But yeah, I'm not saying that from cause I'm one of the motherfuckers when they announce the fight and all that shit, I see who you fighting and I go start looking at him and shit. I'm telling you, I'm one of them niggas who had B-Vol. I'm one of them niggas who had I bullshit you not. I can't cause I'm on this phone. I'm one of them niggas who had B-Vol. I'm one of them niggas who had Usyk against Tyson Fury. I'm one of them niggas that had Sean Porter against Danny Garcia. I'm one of them niggas who had Andrew Ruiz nigga against Anthony Joshua. That was my Mike Tyson moment right there, bro. I ain't bullshitting with you. I looked at my daughter because we was in the living situation we was in. I'm gonna say we had, but probably you know what I'm talking about, a few hundred leisure, and I sat there and gave her a long ass. I said, man, when I was little, it was a fight called Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson, and I seen them eyes, and I had always told myself if I grew up and I ever seen them kind of eyes again, I was gonna take them. Cause I was asking her, what should we do? She said, man, nigga, if you don't, you know what I'm talking about? I went down there, I bet 100 on Andy Ruiz, nigga, and I bet that motherfucker was going under. And I want to say that shit was like 11 and a half or whatever the under was, bro. The nigga got knocked out in that round like it was under 130. You know what I'm talking about? I cleaned their ass up on that one. You know what I'm talking about? Coffee Chronicles. But I had guys against Pacquiao. I'm one of them niggas. You know what I'm talking about? I'm one of them niggas that also had Shane Mosley against Mayweather, Cotto against Mayweather. You know what I'm talking about? I put 800 on Cotto. Hey, bullshit with you, nigga. Nigga, I was in a house, hella disappointed. If you would have seen that look on my face, nigga, I'm one of them niggas who had money on damn near everybody Pacquiao fought. Josh Cloudy, I just always been an underdog dude. But you get what I'm saying. I was the nigga when we was in jail and shit, and it'd be a big fight. When the power worker, shout out Drew. You know what I'm talking about? And everybody had to lock down and shit. We'll call my house, nigga, and had a power worker doing the play-by-play, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I was that nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Always been house party around bruh. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, they'll call my crib where the party was going on at. You know what I'm talking about? All the shit in the background. And they'll be giving the whoever they talking to on the phone and be giving them play-by-play. You know what I'm talking about? We call him back, nigga, until the fight over, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? It's only like, I think here like 30 minutes. That's when the phone calls is 30 minutes. But I'm one of them boxing fans, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? Everything for the people. Shout out Brother Tone and them. You know what I'm talking about? Good brothers on the Cane by Coffee Chronicles. But yeah, man. So when I'm telling you the way I see this fight, bruh, I ain't went and gathered up a collage of what other niggas said, folks. I'm not looking at other niggas' videos and I'm listening to what they say and now I done made that my own thoughts. No, I didn't do that, man. Listen, let me give you the breakdown. You know what I'm talking about? First of all, I'm one of them people when the fight starts, when the fight made and shit, I told you I go look at the other people and shit. I'm not one of them people, like sometimes it be big ass favorites, like the Tevin Farmer fight, as you saw. I got up here even though he lost. I think he got jobbed. You know what I'm talking about? But I told y'all I was running down to the casino to see how much of a motherfucking underdog he was. He was a whopping underdog, y'all. That nigga was plus 500. I ain't bullshitting with you. But I knew he was finna give that fool some motherfucking problems. For one, bruh, way too young. You know what I'm talking about? He way too young. And what he thought he was gonna do, cause see, he looked at that JoJo Diaz fight. You know what I'm talking about? And he seen all that shit. So if JoJo could hit him that much, even though Tevin Farmer I think was going through something at the time, but they just thought off that last fight, they seen all the weaknesses. So they thought that JoJo Diaz could do that all. Just imagine what I'm gonna do. And he seen that shit was a little bit harder. That nigga got up in there and it felt like he was in there with James Toney. He could not hit that nigga, bruh. He couldn't. But that nigga was slick. And I felt there was going to be an outcome like that, bruh, because of how a young dude was. Like, I just felt that it was going to be like that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, this Terrence Crawford fight. Let me tell you something. Come here, boy. To me, it don't have nothing to do with dude being hella big. And because when I look at dude, like I said, I can see the shit Terrence Crawford, what they see they could take advantage of. Because dude hella big and clumsy and shit sometimes. That nigga be lunging and you know what I'm talking about? And Speed should be able to tear his ass up because this nigga be coming in goofy sometime. You know what I'm talking about? Now he got some little whatever. I don't know if it's slick. I ain't seen it work yet. You know what I'm talking about? But I see some little shit he be doing with his feet and jumping around and all that shit like that. All that ninja shit. And that's cool. You know what I'm talking about? When you could get away with it. You know what I'm talking about? But I see hella shit where Terrence Crawford could be on this nigga helmet, right? I see what they see that they can take advantage of. Cause Brett hella goofy sometimes, folks. I ain't bullshitting with you. That nigga be lunging in all off balance. You can see that nigga Terrence Crawford getting the knockdown just by this nigga feet not being in the right spot when he jumping in and shit. You know what I'm talking about? You can see that nigga getting like an accidental, like a flash knockdown to where this nigga ain't even hurt. He just off balance and shit and get hit. You can see that shit a lot. But that ain't what I'm talking about, bruh. If Terrence Crawford could hurt this dude, it'll like if his power translate to 154 and he could really hurt that nigga, bruh, you gonna get a performance like you seen with Spence. You know what I'm talking about? If he ain't lost a step or whatever, you gonna get one of them performances and he's just gonna dominate if he can hurt him. Now what I'm telling you, I'm worried about. Y'all hold on, let me put some warmth on this coffee. For this, you know what I'm talking about? Boxing talk with bro, man. Piping hot. You know you gotta have that coffee piping hot, man. This motherfucking AC blowing so hard, that shit get cold. Hella quick. Now the problem, now I told you, if Terrence Crawford can hurt this dude, it might, you can have an outcome like that Spence fight. You feel what I'm saying? You can't if he could hurt him. You know what I'm talking about? Because like I said, dude be putting himself out of position and shit. He got some nice little shit over there. But Crawford, against Crawford, if Crawford can hurt this dude, he gonna get on him. You know what I'm talking about? Now this is the problem. If Crawford can't hurt that dude, Crawford gonna have a problem. You gonna see a fight similar like Tank and Frank Martin. If Crawford can't hurt that dude, he's not gonna be able to keep that dude up off of him. And that's the problem Crawford gonna have if his power don't translate. If his power up there like Benavidez when he jumped up there, how his power didn't translate, Crawford gonna be in trouble. And you're gonna see a fight similar to that one to Tank and Frank Martin. You're gonna see Crawford looking good, hitting dude with some combination, beating him. Because what's fucked up is like and if you can't hurt him, you get what I'm saying? There's only one way he's gonna be able to beat that dude, and that's gonna be dangerous. That's gonna be the dangerous fight for him to fight. Because he's gonna have to box that dude, not get hit by him. Because Crawford slippery as a motherfucker. He can do that. But man, that shit require him to stay on the outside. That's where he's gonna be dangerous at. You get what I'm saying? Because I can see a fight like where Crawford can't hurt that dude, and he just beating him up and beating him up, but that's still gonna be like dude always gonna have a chance to crack him because he just gonna keep on pressuring him. No matter if he can't hurt him, he just gonna stay on him, bruh. And that's where it's gonna get ugly at. That's where it's gonna get ugly at. Cause Crawford can't stand there and bang with dude, bruh. And I know that for a fact. That ain't no dude you trade punches with, folks. Especially if you can't hurt him. Because he's going to be able to hurt you. Now, Terrence Crawford can take his punch. See, because I never even thought about that until I just said that. I just don't see that, folks. I don't. Now, I might stand corrected once again. See, I'm not a boxing philosopher. Even though I am, right? You know what I'm talking. But I'm going to tell you, when niggas come up here and do, oh, they good for this one. They good for telling you, like say Tank finna fight Frank Martin. They good for telling you some shit like, man, Tank might be in some trouble, man. You know what I'm talking about? He should win, man, but he might be in some trouble. You know what I'm talking about? Indicating that. So say Tank lose to Frank Martin. That same person that said that, they'll come back and say, man, I told you he might be in some trouble. You know what I'm talking about? But let Tank knock him out. You know what I'm talking about? They gonna act like he said Tank might be in some trouble. You know what I'm talking about? I thought Tank would I knew Frank Martin would look like that on Tank. I thought Frank Martin, I ain't gonna even lie to you, I thought Frank Martin might have had the power to hurt Tank. But when I seen that he couldn't hurt Tank, you seen that early too. I'm gonna tell you where I think that nigga lost the fight mentally, bro. He was already starting to break down. Frank Martin, I'm talking about. It was one of them rounds when that nigga Tank fainted at that nigga. And that nigga reacted so hard to that motherfucker. And Tank started laughing at him. I think that's where he just gave up mentally. Because he was so worried about getting cracked with that motherfucking punch. But see, with a lot of people, even though he got knocked out, Frank Martin was getting hurt by them body punches Tank was throwing. Coffee Chronicles. Them body punches was tearing his ass up. That's why you stop seeing that nigga move so motherfucking much. Like how he was looking like the ghost at first, wasn't he? That shit slowed his ass down real quick. That's why that nigga started thinking, like, man, let me stop moving so much because I can't, you know what I'm talking about? He was he was just mentally defeated, bruh. But I knew, I think right then when that nigga Tank had fainted at him and he reacted to that shit hella hard and everybody started laughing, I think that's where, like, he mentally gave up at. Then right before he got knocked out, it was when he wasn't punching no more and he was just sitting on the ropes trying to slip that shit and all that shit. And he fucked around and countered Tank one time and he cracked Tank up off the ropes. And Tank just took that shit and came back. I think that was the other thing that defeated him mentally. You know what I'm talking about? Because I think that's what he was trying to set up and he was waiting for. And when he did that and it didn't do nothing, I think that just like broke him, just deterred him. It was like he knew it was over right there. Because even when he couldn't move no more, and he was trying to conserve some energy on them ropes, and he just saved everything he had at that moment. He sat down on that motherfucker and cracked Tank, and Tank just kept coming forward. That just, like, he knew he didn't have nothing for him at that point. He knew he didn't have nothing for him at that point. Because his only chance in that fight was going to be able to hurt Tank. That was going to be his only chance. And I'm starting to believe Tank one of them motherfuckers you can't hurt. And if I was a fighter, I'm just saying this dude is out here. I don't even think, like, you going to obviously have to go for a motherfucker head hitting with a jab and shit. But I think I would focus more on Tank's body. I would. I think I'll focus more on his body, folks. Try to get that nigga try to take some kind of power up out that motherfucking thing. Up out that motherfucking thing. He calls it uppercut, right? I would just try my best to try to make that nigga try to lose some kind of power in that motherfucker. Because right now, I mean, there's probably somebody else out there, but he's one of the few motherfuckers. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. I would give it to Tank over Mike Tyson. Somebody gonna say, bro, you crazy as a motherfucker. And this is why I say that, because Tank hit a motherfucker and they really be sleep, bro. Tyson used to hit motherfuckers and they was just scared to get up. Big difference, man. Coffee Chronicles. Now, I'm not saying Mike wouldn't knock motherfuckers out cold either. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, when Tank hit a motherfucker, bro, they be sleep. They be out, they can't get up. Mike Tyson hit a motherfucker like Bruce Seldon and them, and they just be scared to get up. They just don't want to get hit that hard. But they can get up. You know what I'm talking about? But Tank be hitting motherfuckers, bro, and they be gone. You know what I'm talking about? They be gone. Like, they can't even stand up again. The ref will help a motherfucker up, and they do that deer shit. You know what I'm talking about? They going back and forth. Back and forth. You know what I'm talking about? They be out of it. And, Tyson used to hit motherfuckers, although he has slept some motherfuckers. You know what I'm talking about? But motherfuckers was more scared to get hit again like that, bruh. That could have got up. Like, that he hit nigga and they wouldn't sleep. Like Buster Douglas. You see Buster Douglas got up? And them niggas was cracking back then. I'm telling you, one of my favorite fights still is Holyfield Tyson one. Them niggas was Holyfield my favorite fighter. He is. But yeah, man, let me get back to this Terrence Crawford thing, man, because they got the questioning, bro, man, like I'm sitting around here watching the rest of these motherfucking videos coming up to my own motherfucking boxing conclusion about that shit. No, bro. No. You know what I'm talking about? If Crawford can't hurt that dude, Terrence Crawford gonna lose that fight, folks. And the only way, I'm saying, if Terrence Crawford can't hurt that dude, the only way he wins that fight, and that's gonna be the most dangerous fight for him to fight from the outside, because that's where dude trying to catch him at with the motherfucking that Thor punch. That's where he trying to catch his ass at, on the outside. He more dangerous getting caught out there trying to fight on the outside if he can't hurt him. He more at risk of getting hit with one of them lunging ass punches. You know what I'm talking about? And that's where he gonna get clipped with all the power. Is so like, but I just don't see how. I mean, he might be able to do it. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't doubting him. He might be able to do it. You know what I'm talking about? We gotta see. But it'll be you gotta see, because he still might look fast, all this shit. But if he can't hurt dude, man, I'm just saying Terrence Crawford gonna lose that fight if he can't hurt him. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Terrence Crawford gonna lose. I'm not saying all that. I'm saying if he can't go in there and hurt that dude is gonna beat Terrence Crawford, bruh. He is. And I'm not talking about no motherfucking muscles because he hella big and all. I don't even be looking at none of that shit, bruh. I just see the way dude fight. You know what I'm talking about? I just see the way dude fight. And with the Terrence Crawford fans, I ain't gonna say Terrence Crawford gets his a lot. He has good defense sometimes when he have to. You know what I'm talking about? Coffee Chronicles. but he gets hit a lot. And one thing while I'm on that right there, because I'm gonna tell you something else that just pisses me off about Terrence Crawford fans, and all y'all do this with y'all people. Y'all just don't keep the game clean. Like they'll say all this shit about Terrence Crawford, how like he's just Superman right now, right? But if you ask them people, did he get dropped against Mean Machine? I ain't never heard one Terrence Crawford fan be like, yeah, he did get dropped. They make an excuse for that shit. Like, they'll just say something. You know when a nigga lying, he's like, man, the ref didn't call it a knockdown. You know what I'm talking about? Just like a foul in basketball. Like, that was a foul. And they be like, man, the ref didn't call it. You know what I'm talking about? Coffee Chronicle. Boxing talk. But they'll just never keep it clean. But dude, hella goofy. So like I said, I could see the shit that he could take advantage of. But if he can't hurt that dude, he gonna lose. He is. Because at some point in that fight, that dude gonna be able to hurt him. I ain't bullshitting with you. Because the only way, if he can't hurt him, the only other way Terrence Crawford could win that fight is just like box, like how Mayweather did Canelo. You know what I'm saying? Like Mayweather did Canelo. But I just don't see no I don't see Crawford with I don't see Crawford with like Mayweather defense. You get what I'm saying? Actually, Bud is like he a killer, so he like one of the motherfuckers when you hit him good, he tries to come back immediately and get his lick. Errol Spence like that too. You know what I'm talking about? It's like he tried to immediately come back and if he can't hurt that dude, I can just see that dude pressuring him and shit and walking through that shit to throw to get his shit. Because what I think, like, this is only if he can't hurt him. If Terrence Crawford can hurt him, you probably see a performance like Spence. Because dude hella clumsy and shit at times. You get what I'm saying? And I know he's just waiting to take advantage of that shit. So if he can hurt him, you'll see him look spectacular. But if he can't hurt that dude, you're going to see a fight like Tank and Frank Martin, bruh. You're going to be seeing Terrence Crawford still getting off, but you're going to be seeing him getting walked down, folks. I ain't bullshitting with you. You're going to be seeing him getting off. You're going to be hollering from the punches and shit. Might even look like he is a master boxing class performance. But you're going to see the Russian dude steadily walking him down. Trust and believe, folks, if he can't hurt him. Because the thing that I see that if he can't hurt him, that's going to give him a problem is that body shit. That's the same shit that also, if he can't hurt him, it's going to get his ass in trouble. Because he leans too much, bro. He leaves himself open way too much. Like, he's just there for the feasting at times. You get what I'm saying? So if he can hurt him, you're going to see a master, like, you're going to see him put something on him. But if he can't hurt him, you're going to see a version of that Tank and Frank Martin shit, bro. I'm telling you. You're going to see Terrence Crawford getting off. White dude still walking his ass down. You know what I'm talking about? Now, he might get away with it, like I said. Because the only way he beating him, if he can't hurt him, bro, he going to have to put on the A1 Masterclass boxing performance. You know what I'm talking about? And if he beat this dude, he should get credit for beating this dude, folks. He should. Because I think it's going to be a hard fight for him. If he can't hurt him. You know what I'm talking about? But he might hurt him. I don't know how his power translates. Coffee Chronicles. But if he ain't got that power to, like, at least stun you like Holyfield, man, listen. If he ain't got enough power to make that dude respect him, and you know Terrence Crawford know in his mind that it's a real fight. Because you see over there fucking with Andre Ward. You know, he done took this shit serious as a motherfucker. He know what he in front of. And if he beat him, he should get his credit for beating him. They shouldn't play him like, oh man, that dude only had 10 fights and woo. They should He should get his credit for beating dude. Because I think this is finna be and once again, all this is predicated on the fact if he can't hurt him. If he hurt him, he gonna be able to he gonna be able to get Bret up out of there if he could hurt him. Cause like I said, Bret hella clumsy at times. He come in with some that shit hella goofy. You know what I'm talking about? But if he can't hurt him and he could just like sock him up when he make them disadvantages and that shit ain't hurting dude, you gonna see a version of that Tank and Frank Martin fight, bruh. You just gonna see Terrence Crawford lighting his ass up, but you gonna see Terrence Crawford getting walked down. You know what I'm talking about? And dude be doing some good body work. He do. Coffee Chronicles. He awkward, bruh. He is. He got some good feints and shit too. And if Terrence Crawford can't hurt him, that shit gonna get Terrence Crawford clipped. I'm telling you, if Terrence Crawford can't hurt dude, he gonna lose that fight. And if he hurt him, he gonna look spectacular. But if he can't, he gonna lose that fight, folks. And like I said, I want him to win. Because if he lose that fight, they gonna act like that nigga never could fight. I'm telling you, the Spence fans gonna be teasing that nigga. I told you that nigga was a woo 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 woo. And they gonna act like somehow because he lost, that proves something was wrong with Spence or something. They just gonna come, you know how people be changing the narrative and shit. You gonna have all that shit. So I really don't want him to lose. Because they gonna act like he could never fight if he lose. And it might fuck around and take him hell alone to really get another fight. Because all that shit gonna be off the table for him. I ain't bullshitting with you, bruh. They gonna act like that nigga never could fight. Like I said, I actually want to see the rematch with him and Spence. But Spence better look out. This shit should get interesting in a minute. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, this shit should get interesting in a minute. But this video right here was for my partner. I was trying to act like nigga I watched another video and came up to my conclusion. Nah, nigga. I just see the way the people fight. I see the way Terrence Crawford fight. He good, bro. You can't take that away from him. I'm not saying that he ain't good. But the way y'all fans be going on is just like he's Superman. Like I was working yesterday just listening to the what everybody think before the fight, right? I guess I'm on one of the Terrence Crawford fan pages, right? And what killed me about this channel was, first of all, they just knew Bud was gonna win. They talking about everything Bud do. Now they breaking down the fight, talking about, man, you see how that man be lunging with them jabs? Crawford gonna counterpunch. Now they said everything they think. Now they ain't seen this. They just, from what they see and what they seen in Crawford, they just put this together that that's what's gonna happen. Then somebody else come up in there and say, man, not only is Terrence Crawford old, but it was like, man, Terrence Crawford be getting, he done been hurt before, you know what I mean? He might be taking a big step, and he ain't never been at 154. The people, they start laughing at him like that wasn't an honest take or something, right? They was like, man, y'all don't know what he talking about. They said the same thing when he was at 130, then he went to 135. They said the same thing when he was at 135 and went to 140. They said the same thing when he, but they don't be saying he, they be saying we. They be saying, he said the same thing when we went to 147. Man, we done been there and done that before. And I'm thinking to myself, no, you haven't, bruh. You been to 147 before. You been there and did that. You ain't never been to 154. So by saying we've already been there, you ain't had a fight at 154. You know what I'm talking about? That should just be crazy. How motherfuckers they'll discredit your honest take and then try to make it seem like that was just a crazy response, I thought. Because he made it seem like Terrence Crawford didn't have a few fights at 154 or something. Like he didn't already be the champion up there or something. And actually, he ain't even fought there before. And you ain't seen a nigga fight since Spence. You know what I'm talking about? But it was just funny how everybody else came in. They was just giving their honest take on the fight. They was like, he ain't never had to fight nobody this big. this young that's already a champion. This dude could fight. He's just not a. He had problems with Mean Machine and whoop. And dude, he'll start laughing. Man, y'all selling whip tickets, man. Let's bet and just change the whole topic and shit. Talking about, man, they said the same thing about everybody we done went through. We went over there, beat Kyle Brook, and they still talking about people he done beat. But he trying to make it seem like the people who take, they just giving they honest take like they automatically wrong because they not for Bud. And I thought that was just crazy. It's like, and that's how we get as the public now. It's like, it ain't what really could happen. You know what I'm talking about? If you don't agree with me, you automatically wrong because our dude done beat up all these people. Like I said, we ain't even got to fight the fight. You know what I'm talking about? We automatically know our dude is just going to go up in there and do it because that's what they been doing. Coffee Chronicles. And it is just funny to me, man. Like I said, if Crawford could hurt him, it's going to be a whole different fight. But if he can't, but it's just amazing to me how people just think this is not even going to be a fight. That's the part that kills me. It does. You feel me? It does. But like I said, like the boxing fans make boxing fucked up now. Because everybody got that diva mentality. Like I said, y'all don't even be wanting to see the best fights. Y'all just want to be giving y'all whatever fighter you like. You want to give them an automatic victory. And then they can keep fighting bums or people that people don't even want to see them fight. Coffee Chronicle. That's good enough for your fighter. But the people that's trying to fight your fighter, they got to go through 3-4 motherfuckers like old school kung fu. They got to go through hella levels to get to your fighter. Because they got to prove themselves. While your fighter just still fighting fights don't nobody even want to see. That shit don't even make no sense. Coffee Chronicle. That's what I was talking about, that leverage shit. If your fighter the A side, fuck just making the fight. You got to prove yourself to get to your fighter. Because we the big people. That shit don't make no sense, folks. It don't. Then you gonna say who ducking who. All nigga got to do is just fight, folks. Y'all should just want to see the best fights. I don't be understanding that. Then they always got 4-5 people for your person to fight that they person ain't even fought. But somehow you got to beat these people to prove yourself. You don't even know if you could beat them. Y'all something straight out of comic book with that shit. It is. Y'all really showed yourself when Little Nephew went through that shit with Ryan Garcia. Y'all did. And right now, y'all are still teased, nephew. Coffee Chronicles. You feel what I'm saying? That's where me and my nigga Nate the Great. Because everybody will say, Loma, did y'all really watch that fight with Nephew and Loma? Loma didn't win that fight. It ain't like... Because this is where y'all get confused as boxing fans. A motherfucker have a good moment and y'all act like that good moment was the whole fight. It's like y'all don't be counting rounds. You know what I'm talking about? It's like y'all don't count rounds. Then somebody will get dropped and it's like you don't understand. Like if you just got dropped one time and you got up, that's just a 10-8 round, folks. You down 1 point. That's just a 10-8 round. If you came back and won the next round, you just made that point up. Like, do you get that? I don't think y'all do, because y'all be putting more on the little moments motherfuckers be having in fights. They say, man, did you see how he was doing? Yeah, he had a moment in the fight, folks. Did you see after all that? You know what I'm talking about? So we be gauging shit. But that fight right there, the man got up fighting the motherfucker off steroids, bruh. And they'll still act like the steroids didn't matter. Now listen, have it, because the argument I ain't never heard nobody made was, okay, he got hit with the left hook, in the first round. I ain't never heard nobody said, what if the man wasn't off steroids? Do you think he would have been able to take the punch? Maybe that one punch right there, if it wasn't a steroid punch, you know what I'm talking about, wouldn't have as a big effect on the fight. Because even after he got hit with the steroid punch in the first round, he came back to win damn near the next 5 to 6 rounds, bruh. Really, the only rounds he lost in that fight is the ones he got dropped in, bruh. Keep it real. But once again, he in the whole motherfucking fight for 12 rounds getting hit by a motherfucker off of steroids, bruh. And somehow, y'all made that seem, y'all was teasing him and shit, made that seem like somehow that was some sucker shit or he just got outdone or something, when really that was some of the bravest shit that's around this motherfucker. Having the gall to stand up in there with a motherfucker that's not only got a weight advantage, but a motherfucking, I don't see how y'all be looking at life. I see how y'all be looking at it. Y'all just be ready to tease somebody about anything. That's how y'all be looking at it. But let that be Lomo or Tyson Fury or Teofimo Lopez, you know what I'm talking about? Ryan Garcia. Let them have to endure the same shit. They would have been brave heroes and everything else. Because once again, if you talk to people about that fight, they'll act like nephew got knocked out. They'll forget that fight went to a motherfucking 12-round decision. They'll act like that never happened. They'll just talk about the times he got dropped. You know what I'm talking about? And it was still a close fight. Y'all something straight out of the comic book. The way y'all cover shit. And then they gonna make the narrative, well, he kept getting hit by the left hand. The defense, have you ever thought if he wasn't getting hit with a steroid punch, he would have been able to just take that punch a little bit better and it wouldn't have had as much of a effect? I never heard nobody make that argument, folks. Because the defense mattered. He would have got hit with the punch anyway. What if that motherfucker didn't have the same effect? That motherfucker got a zap board on it. What if I was just getting hit with a regular punch? Because I done fought this motherfucker about 6 times already. And I ain't never been hurt by his power. Of course he could crack. But he can't crack to the extent, you know what I'm talking about, where that shit was giving me problems. Maybe my recovery time would have been better. You know what I'm talking about? If I didn't get whacked with a motherfucking punch off a motherfucking zap board, maybe I would have still had my speed and shit. Like, I just never heard nobody made that argument. Like, you got cheated and somehow you was still supposed to have, like, you boxing a nigga with hands and he got a 2x4. And somehow you supposed to keep on blocking the 2x4 with your hands like your hands ain't, you know what I'm talking about? Like, this nigga clearly got an advantage. But somehow we still judging this motherfucker like it was a fair fight. Like we was just fighting with hands. Don't make no sense, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? But y'all do that for who y'all like. Y'all do. When you don't like somebody, y'all bash them. When you like somebody, they could do no wrong. That's just like Teofimo Lopez. You don't never hear nobody, you don't hear the media criticize that nigga, bruh. You don't. That nigga just had a fight with a nobody. For that nigga last 3 fights, that nigga been showing you the same shit. He don't know how to cut off the ring. He done been dropped by hella nobodies, but you don't never hear nobody say that nigga don't got no chin. Nigga got dropped by George Kambosos. You ain't never heard nobody say this nigga don't got a chin. Nigga got dropped by Sam Martin, whatever the fuck that nigga name is, that ain't even no puncher. You ain't never heard nobody say this nigga ain't got no chin. This nigga was just up in there his last fight. But his fight wasn't boring, I guess. That went 12 rounds just like Shakur's did. His fight wasn't boring. And at the end of the fight, even though he won it, he looked like he got beat to death. Both of this nigga eyes all big and shit. Come on, bruh. But they still talk about this nigga like he a world-class fighter or something. You don't never hear him criticize that nigga, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? Somehow what Shakur did was worse than what this nigga did. This nigga went 12 rounds with a bump and looked like he lost. Kept getting hit. This nigga ain't showed nothing, but you can disrupt anything that nigga thinking about with a jab all night, bro. That's all nigga showed you. That you can hit this nigga with a jab all motherfucking night, bro. He don't know how to cut off the ring, bro. They don't say nothing about that, bro. You know what I'm talking about? They act like this nigga showed a hell of a performance. He really didn't like out of his last 4 fights, he really done lost like 2 of them motherfuckers, bro. He got beat by the other dude where he got dropped, and he got beat by the other, like the Ortiz nigga. All night, the same shit. Then this nigga will wait till like damn near the last round or something, hit a nigga with one of them hooks or something, the crowd go wild. Nigga, something straight out of comic book. But y'all to sit around there and praise that nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Because he beat a motherfucker before that. That nigga last 4 fights, bruh, been full of shit. But they ain't gonna say you know born fighter. They gonna still act like that nigga world class. Like he can still beat somebody because he got power. This nigga is sitting right there showing you he can't cut off the ring, and you can hit that nigga with a jab and disrupt everything he's thinking about all night, bruh. I ain't bullshitting with you. And a lot of them niggas like that, bruh. They don't even jab coming in. They just rush in. You know what I'm talking about? Without jabbing. Tank do that shit sometimes, but Tank. Just rush in without jabbing. Getting caught on the way in. Gotta keep resetting his foot. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't bullshitting with you. But yeah, that was my nigga talking about this motherfucking man, I ain't fucking with y'all. Talking about like I done took these other nigga advice or something thinking this dude. No, it ain't that, bruh. I just hope Crawford can hurt that dude. Cause if he can't, you gonna see a fight just like you seen in Tank and Frank Martin. You gonna see Crawford having his moments, then you gonna just see Crawford still getting bogged down back against them ropes or something. Then you gonna see that nigga working to the body. He gonna work to the body to get that. He got a wild ass overhand, and I'm glad I said that because this is what really when I started looking dude up and seeing how he fight, that's what really got me worried because that wild ass overhand he got, Terrence Crawford, just like Sean Porter. If you notice something about Sean Porter in every fight, just like Nephew, they get caught sometime during that fight with that motherfucking check hook. Sometime during they fight, they gonna get caught with the other nigga check hook, bruh. Sean Porter Nephew, it ain't gonna fail every time. Every time. That's the same one Sean Porter got knocked down with against Spence. He just always, oh, I forgot because I do like Sean Porter. But I think Ugas beat Sean Porter that time. I do. Sean Porter fought a fight that I ain't never even seen him kind of like fight. That nigga was trying to box. That's why he was getting punched on. But they always get caught with that check hook. Nephew too. You know what I mean? Always get caught with that hook. The same one he was getting caught with. And it always worries me when a motherfucker that always get caught with a punch and they finna fight with somebody who got one of them good punches. And that overhand right Terrence Crawford always get hit with, dude got it. That's why it's gonna be dangerous for him fighting on the outside. I ain't bullshitting with you. Cause dude got that punch. And sometimes the way he throw it, because he be fucking with your body so much, even though he clumsy and all that, he be fucking with your body so much, he gotta wait for you to react to that shit like he going to the body. And I don't know, it's weird. It's almost like a feint. Like he feint to your body like he finna throw a punch and he come over with. You know what I'm talking about? And that's the one I'm worried about Bud getting hit with right there. And Bud always get hit with that punch right there. Sean Porter caught him with it. Gamboa caught him with it, but that ain't the one that really hurt him. Actually, Gamboa hurt Bud a few times in that fight, folks. Now he just always get caught with that punch, folks. He do. The Mean Machine hit him with it. That punch right there, bruh. Terrence Crawford always get hit with it. And dude got one of them, he throws that motherfucker pretty good, bruh. And that was the first thing that made me worry about that fight. You know what I'm talking about? And like I said, if he can't hurt him, he gonna have to come up in there and put on one of them them world boxing things where he gonna have to not get hit. You know what I'm talking about? Like Mayweather or Canelo. I just don't see it happening like that. If he can't hurt him, I don't. Cause I could see if he can't hurt him, I could see the like the mental shit wearing down on him. I can. Because despite what you think or not, it's a lot of pressure on Bud right here, man. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't sure, but I think they got to fight over there. And that's even scary. You know what I'm talking about? Even though I can't see dude, that's the only thing I don't see is dude outboxing Bud. I don't see that. I don't see that at all. I see that nigga trying to get Bud in under 4 rounds, bruh. I do. I see that nigga trying to get to Bud in like under 4 rounds. But really, like the first half of the fight, the first 6 rounds, I could see dude trying to do what he gonna do to Bud and them in that length right there. So Bud better watch out in that length right there. I ain't bullshitting with you. Cause dude a pressure fighter. And if Bud can't hurt him, like I said, you're gonna see the same fight as Tank and Frank Martin. It's gonna be looking like Bud doing something. He gonna be hitting him, and if that shit don't get to him, Bud ain't gonna win that fight, bruh. I'm telling you, cause dude got one of them motherfuckers cocked for him. That punch that Bud always get hit with, yeah, I think he can't get hit with dudes. He can't trade punches with dudes, bruh. He can't. He can't. So I'm really hoping Crawford could hurt that dude. Cause once again, if he could hurt that dude, you'll see a Spence like performance. Cause dude be hella goofy, and when Bud cause Bud gonna have he gonna have hella chances to light his ass up. That's what I'm saying. Cause dude be coming in there goofy. You know what I'm talking about? Some of that shit be with a motherfucker like Bud, he should be able to pick that shit apart, like pick and pull, right? And at that moment right there, when he does that shit, if he can't hurt dude doing that shit, like I said, I can see Bud knocking dude down by dude just being off balance, bruh. I swear I can. Uh, but if he can't hurt him with that shit right there when he could take advantage of it, you gonna see one of them Tank Frank Martin fights, bruh. You gonna see Bud, you gonna see that nigga walking Bud down, bruh. You know what I'm talking about? Fucking with that body into them feints and all that shit and get him. You know what I'm talking about? But I ain't even worried about all that muscles and shit, because really muscles fuck you up. You know what I'm talking about? Depending on how you built, bruh. That shit take hella oxygen and shit. It do. That's why you seen Frank Bruno and them like that. Frank Bruno, you'll look at that nigga and you think that nigga was finna knock somebody out right now. You know what I'm talking about? That's why you always seen them niggas like that. Even Anthony Joshua. I mean, that shit cool. It look cool and all that, but that shit don't yeah, that shit don't necessarily amount to nothing. I ain't so everybody talking about how big dude is and all that. I ain't even worried about none of that shit, bro. Don't none of that shit matter to me. That ain't what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at is that nigga power gonna translate to 154, and if it does, he probably gonna be in pretty good shape. If it does, because if he could hurt dude, he should be able to get dude up out of there with that goofy shit dude do. Now, if that nigga power doesn't translate to 154, Bud finna be in big trouble. You know what I'm talking about? And that's my motherfucking prediction on the fight. I ain't bullshitting with you. Because if he can't hurt dude, you gonna see a motherfucking performance like you seen Tank and Frank Martin, bruh. You gonna see Bud hitting that nigga, and you gonna see that nigga still walking Bud down, though, while he getting his ass lit up. And then you gonna see that nigga try to set some of that big overhand shit up. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And if Bud get hurt with that dude, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. You gonna see Bud on the rope looking like remember when I wanna say it was it wasn't Mark Breland, it wasn't Terry Norris. It might have been Terry Norris. But it was one of them niggas like that, bro, that fought the Hawk, and he was on the Hawk shit. He was tearing the Hawk ass up. He was over there on the rope swinging. Oh, man, nigga was over there looking like Sir Ray Leonard. The Hawk caught that nigga with one of the motherfucking hooks. Knocked that nigga out standing up. I ain't bullshitting with you. Because dude, he a good finisher. So I hope Bud could hurt him. Because if he could hurt him, he gonna capitalize on all that goofy shit. But if he can't hurt him, you gonna see one of them Tank Frank Martin performances where you see Bud hitting that nigga and that shit looking good and all that shit, everybody hollering and shit, but that nigga still just walking him down. I'm telling you. Because Bud can't get hit with no big shit from dude, folks. He can't. He can't. He ain't gonna be able to take that shit, bruh. I know that for a fact. He ain't. No, he ain't gonna be able to take too many of them flush. That's why he ain't gonna be able to trade he ain't gonna be able to trade motherfucking shots with dude. So Bud really better be careful when he counter punching. Cause that's where he gonna leave himself open at. He can't get caught with one of them hooks and shit. I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I know. So that's my fight prediction, man. You know what I'm talking about? If he could hurt him, he gonna be in pretty good shape. But if he can't hurt that dude, he might lose in embarrassing fashion. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, if he can't hurt that dude, I predict he will lose in embarrassing fashion. And that's fucked up because like that's the one person Bud can't lose to, because if Bud does lose the dude, they gonna act like Bud never could fight, folks. Watch what I tell you. And it ain't gonna be nobody really but the Earl Spence fans. They gonna feel some kind of way like they got they get back. You know what I'm talking about? Good for you. That's what you get for doing our guy like that. They gonna feel some kind of way like that, bro. Instead of just wanting Errol Spence to rematch him and see what he do. They gonna feel like that. Because that's how we act now as fans. You know what I'm talking about? For real. But it should be some exciting shit. I'm thinking about, no, I ain't gonna even let that come out my mouth. But we'll just see on August 3rd, man, if God say the same. But that's gonna be it for Boxing Talk, man. And that's why I think Bud Crawford might have some problems. You know what I'm talking about? It's gonna depend on if he got hurt dude or not. But if he can't get dude attention with that shit he got, yeah, I predict he gonna lose in embarrassing fashion. You know what I'm talking about? But what do I know? Only you can prevent forest fires, man. And with that one right there, you don't remember nothing else. Always, you remember it don't cause nothing. Just to show a little bit of that love.